There is something new every day. The future feels so unpredictable. Where could we be in 15 years? Our playgrounds may change. Learning may not need classrooms. Robots might help us meet time for more important things. Will virtual life be our new social life? Coming? Don't worry about what the future will look like. Just prepare for it. Fearless plans from Aegis Federal Life Insurance help you and your family prepare for the future.
Always such a pleasure to talk to Sir Clive Lloyd. I mean, somebody who I've had the pleasure of commentating with for years, and this is a whole plan to actually create a template to understand this man's life. He's written multiple books, but we've not done it for the visual medium. So if you ask me, one of my life's ambitions would be to document this life. So just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek as to what we are talking about. Sir Clive, we've had multiple discussions on this over the last several days. Your story, I mean, the story from creating a winning team, the story of leadership, the story of I asked you that day, have you been discriminated against? All these are such important points in this day and age. So first thing is, today we talk so much about leadership and the importance of leadership. If I ask you, what has been your philosophy of leadership?
Well, I've said before, you have to have vision. You have, you've got to be someone who's going to lead from the front. You've got to, be friendly with your players. You've got to trust them. They've got to trust you. And because I've come from, my situation was rather challenging. It was different to other captains of different countries. They come from one country, one language. We have 14 different islands, different cultures and backgrounds, and you have to work together to get them to understand what is their role, and because some of them can be quite flamboyant. West Indians love having a go and so on, but you have to put a bit more professionalism into them. So it was a difficult task, but a happy one, because the results has been tremendous.
Again, I asked you this question when we were planning this the other days. In fact, our friend Sudhir was also there. And I asked you pretty much straight that, we are these days, Black Lives Matter, taking the knee has become part of our life, and all of us believe in equality. Have you faced anything like that? And you told me the Lancashire story. Have you actually faced stuff like that?
Not really, because you weren't taking everything black and white sort of thing. You'll have people making comments now and then, but then you didn't take it seriously. I was quite happy at Lancashire. The fans were tremendous. I really didn't have a great set of social problems or racist problems, but I probably was lucky. I don't know if because I was doing well for the county and they revered, you're revered by these people, and they found you someone that wasn't just looking at everything, is it racist or not? I just look forward, and I've done with my children the same way, Don't take everything sort of black and white, look at it and sort of, assess situations as you see them. And they've come through quite well, and so I think I've done a good job in that respect.
So when Sir Clive, I take the West Indies team, for example, 17 years you've not lost anything. Was it also a statement what sport can do? There have been discrimination based on color. So was it also a statement what people can do despite all of the adversities? For a decade and a half, you guys did not lose a series.
Yes, the point is that you knew you had you had to mold this team to win. We had great teams in the past, but probably not as successful for such a long while. So you took all the stuff that you knew and tried to put it together. There again, with the, getting players to work together. The point is that the team that I had, they were with me for 11 years and then with Viv for 5. So they lasted longer than the older players because they didn't play as much cricket. And they got accustomed to us winning one days and test matches and so on. It was a situation at one stage when we were going to play countries, how much will we beat them by? And it's not if you will win. They were so confident. It gave people that step that they felt proud of what we have achieved, and they were part of it. So sport is important to us all. It's given me my upward mobility. Sport creates chances for people. So it to me, I think sport should be encouraged on all parts of the world because it changes people's attitudes.
Coming back to the winning mantra, I mean, something that, again, you stand for, understanding leadership, understanding the winning mantra. West Indies, for example, first 2 World Cups, multiple series, important ICC tournaments, you've not lost. What's wrong with the Indian team, do you think? You watched them closely. We don't get over the line in ICC tournaments in India. We've got the biggest fan base. We've got a huge support for our sport. But something is lacking. What do you think goes wrong? Is it pressure? Is it something else?
No, but you're getting there. You've got semi-finals and so on. Quarter-finals. You've qualified in these. So the point is, I think for the future it could be very good because now, because of the IPL, you have a larger section of cricketers to choose from, and probably they're getting an experience that the other players didn't get. Rubbing their shoulders with the ex-captains, ex-players, and successful players. So the point is that probably in the future, India will have a tremendous one-day side. They've got a terrific test side, and it's just a matter of time. They go in cycles, and it augurs well for them in the future, I'm sure.
Okay. And when you mentioned the IPL, I mean, there is this constant referral that on the one side is money, on the other side is national pride. When I see international teams these days, when you guys played, do you see that? Do you feel that, because of franchise cricket, playing for the national team, for some people at least, is sort of less priority? Is that a problem going forward?
No, I think we went to Kerry Packer because we didn't know our worth. These guys now know what they're worth. But what I think that if IPL is such an important part of their lives, just give them a section so that they can play IPL and it doesn't interfere with international teams. Yes, a window would be excellent, I think, because they're earning a good living. And don't forget, you're giving your best part, the best days of your life to this sport, so why not be paid for it? When Michael Jordan and all these footballers were earning millions per month, nobody's saying anything about it. Why cricket should be different? The one thing I don't want is that to continue that West Indies, because we're island people, we're suffering in the sense that our players want to go to these different tournaments, and you can't stop them from doing that. It gives them a good future. But the point is that not to the detriment of playing for their country or their nation. And we suffer because we're only 5.5 million people. Doctors, lawyers, all sorts of, policemen, nurses, and you have that little cadre of sports people we have to choose from. So if we groom 20 players and lose 10, it's like digging a hole to fill a hole. And I don't want that. I want our best players to play, and I want them to play to their optimum. So we must have a situation where players must want to play for their country.
Okay, so when we see a West Indies team, for example, when you and I were together at the World Cup, we see a team, a Pollard, a Russell, a Hetmeyer, a Puran, all these people, and we're like, which team will even beat them? And then when they turn up, and they don't turn up, that's the whole story. I mean, they collapse and they are playing as individuals. So what do you think is ailing your cricket?
I think sometimes they play too much one type of cricket. If you're playing one-day cricket, you must play four-day cricket. Four-day cricket helps your one-day cricket. And by just playing just one-day cricket, their concentration span is short. And I think that to me is where we need to get that balance, where your best players should be playing in your country. You have a lot of cricketers and a lot of very good cricketers. Australia do, because they have a bigger population. In Pakistan, Sri Lanka, England, they're well organized. We are still struggling in the sense that we travel everywhere by plane. Hotels are very expensive. So running cricket in the West Indies is not easy. It's very hard, very difficult because of the monetary side of it. I hope one day that we will be able to be as expansive as some of these other countries, where they can look after their players better, and they go out there and they want to give, not that our players don't want to give up their best, but they're tired because they're still mentally and physically, because they're playing in too many competitions.
Last couple of questions for this thing, and you can understand what I meant when I said some of the stuff that Sir Clive says, whether it's on leadership, the winning mantra, his own life, needs to be documented better and documented in the visual medium for the masses. You mentioned that to us one of the days, I remember, in Dubai, when we were traveling in the car, that a coach should have the ability to be taken seriously in the dressing room. Somebody has played Test cricket, can advise someone on batting and scored several thousand runs, will be a better coach or better advisor. So India has appointed Rahul Dravid, for example, one of our legends. Does that actually help, the fact that he scored 13,000 runs? Does it help to have that respect in the dressing room when he advises someone?
That alone tells you that he should be there. 13,000 runs? Well, that's great. The point is that you have to get somebody. If you're playing a test match and you're having some problems and so on, it might relate to something that might have happened to that coach. If America's looking for a tennis coach, they don't go to some guy who's never won a top-class tournament. They go for someone like O'Connor or McEnroe. If the German football, yeah, if the Germans are looking for a football coach for their national team, they go with Beckenbauer, somebody that is very, who've got a lot of experience and have done the full run of things, So that to me is an important thing. Get a coach that that can relate to the players and relate to situations.
So Clive, the point that I wanted to make, this is the reason I wanted to do this, was, life lessons from you kind of thing. When you look back, you've achieved so much. So what are the life lessons that you want to pass on to the next generation? Because is it pride when you played for the West Indies? Is it about giving your 100%? Is it about integrity? Is it about standing up for a particular culture? What is Sir Clive Lloyd's message to each one of us?
Well, I think it's pride, honesty, because you don't want to be known as someone that is dishonest in the sporting world or the world of such. Pride is important. You must have that. That is something I try to pass on to the kids. That players that I've been in charge of. That it's important that there's a life after whatever you do. So do the right things. Follow the rules. Don't be silly, because you might have children, and people will look at that, and probably your children will probably be sort of have have that sort of, they'll think that that is the attitude of your father, that you will be inheriting something of that nature. So I think it's just being kind, honest, and you must have pride in everything you do. And I think that you're halfway there to being a perfect citizen, if you can have a perfect citizen, but a better citizen.
So that's what it's all about. For me, it's this was the start of maybe an attempt to document Sir Clive's life, and that's what I want to do over a series of conversations, which we are planning to put together at some point in time. Whether it's important for the challenges that a black man has faced, a brown man faces on a daily basis, how we have been able to overcome these challenges in our world, how sport has helped, and obviously in the process understand the mantras of leadership and how to create a winning team. So that was the idea. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back with more. Thanks for watching.